My name is Madisyn Gores and I am 17 years old. I have been a part of the East River FFA chapter for 3 years now and a part of the FFA for 5 years. And I am proud to say that it has given me a vast knowledge of the beef industry. From using breeding management practices and castration methods for the production of strong and healthy steers to visually evaluating my herd. This year, and my steer scrub have taught me more than any prior. I hope the information I am going to share with you today can help you on your own sometimes. One of the key ingredients to any strong herd is the proper use of breeding management practices. One of the biggest practices is heat detection, also known as estrus. We detect estrus so that insemination can be performed at the proper time. Insemination is the process of breeding cattle by hand, whereas them doing it on their own. Think of estrus as ovulation in female humans. If you know when your animal is going into estrus, it gives you a higher chance of achieving pregnancy. You can get an idea as to whether or not your cow is in heat by finding other cattle mounting the cow you are looking for estrus in. For example, if I was to look for estrus in my heifer Malibu, I would look for signs of mounting, cows lifting their nose to give me an idea if she is in heat. As I stated before, mounting activity is more frequent when 2 or more cows are in estrus, whereas when a single cow is. Knowing the hormones of the estrus cycle can help when starting to produce your own herd. These steps are estrogen, proestrogen, falsely stimulating hormones, luteinizing hormones, gonadotropin releasing hormone. As you look at this chart here, you are going to see the 2 phases before your heifer goes into ovulation. These steps are luteinizing phase, follicle phase. After your heifer goes through these 2 phases, she will go into the luteal phase, which is when your heifer has a higher chance of pregnancy. After these 20 days, your heifer will return back into the luteinizing phase and the follicle phase, which starts the ovulation process over again. Though not all these steps have to happen in this order, they have to happen for your cow to undergo the estrus cycle. An important thing that ranchers look for is how the animal performs. With the advancement of technology and the increased use of computers for keeping records, the use of genetic information when selecting mates has become easier than before. When keeping records on desirable traits and then carefully selecting bulls and cows to be mated with, using data can help producers improve their genetics. Performance of their offsprings will rise in the beef industry. Not only is looking for the performance levels in the cows important, it is also important to evaluate EPDs. EPDs estimate how future progeny of an animal will compare to the progeny of other animals within a breed. Rate these 2 heifers for your purebred Angus. Outstanding heifer progeny will be sold to junior exhibitors who compete on a state level. Secondary income is derived for the private sale of yearling bulls to commercial producers. Labor at calving time is limited, which means calving ease and birthing weight are extremely important. When looking at this chart, you see number 2 has a very small birthing weight. This is good for the production of this heifer because you are going to know that she has a higher chance of producing a calf for you. Whereas when you look at number 1, you see she has a very high birthing weight, which will affect her production of calving. But you're not only going to want to look at the birthing weight, you're also going to want to look at the calving ease, the weaning weight, and the yearling weight. If all 3 of these are high, that's good for not only yourself, but your animal. And as you look at number 2, she has all higher than number 1. But does that Do these affect number 1? No, it just says that she has a worse off production to be had than number 2. Castration is a common known practice in the beef industry. Castration is a process of removing the lower 1/3 of the scrotum, which is then cut off, and the testicles are removed by scraping the spermatic cord with the scalpel blade. This makes sure you get rid of all the unwanted materials. However, this is not the only way to go about castrating your bull calf. An alternative process is banding. This is when a special instrument is used to place a tight rubber band around the scrotum above the testicles. This cuts off the blood supply to the testicles and will cause them to waste away. Castration helps us get the steers that we have like scrub and gives us our ability to show. Before castrating, make sure that the calf is no more than 3 to 4 months old. This is because if the calf is too old, it already has testosterone. Testosterone can cause secondary sexual characteristics such as increased muscle and bone mass. With this, it can prohibit castration from happening. A visual evaluation in the beef in your herd is equally important in the maintenance of healthy production. There are multiple ways to test the body structure and degree of fat, including ultrasound and a simple look and feel of the steer. Now, you might be wondering, how can I test these components with just a stroke and glance? I'm here to explain this and teach you in the event you ever need to do it on your own sometime. When looking at the body structure, you're wanting to look for a long side with a strong top level. When looking at this cow, you see a very straight top line, whereas when you come over to my steer scrub, you see it curves in, which gives him the structure that he has. This indicates faster, more efficient growth and a larger mature weight. You are also aiming to find the depth of body and spring of rib. These are the 2 highest indicators of body captivity. After this, when assessing your beef, you are wanting to determine the degree of fat on the cattle. The varying degree is determined by an animal's age, the season, and the feed that is available to them, both amount and type. Having too much fat can harm the animal. With bulls, the excess fat causes a reduction in their sex drive, whereas in a heifer, it can reduce fertility and milk production. I hope the tips and tricks I have shared with you will aid your troubles in developing a herd of your own. Just remember, as long as you use applicable breeding management practices, appropriate castration methods, and evaluate your herd on a constant basis, you'll have yourself robust and jubilant cattle in no time. Awesome.